What up, everybody? It's your boy Evan, one half of MF Pearl. We got the other half sitting behind the camera, making sure that we rolling. We got David on the mic.
Hey, everyone.
Yes, sir. You know what it is, boy. Another Wednesday, Volume 2, live at MFHQ. Disclaimer. Live at MFHQ is in fact not recorded live. It's actually a pre-recorded program. This episode contains sexually explicit content, so feel free to do what you wish with that information. If you could be so kind of like, follow, and subscribe from me. We go very long. When new episodes every Wednesday. Now back to the show. Yep, we're back at it. This is the premiere of Volume 2 for sure. You might see some redacted introductions on like future episodes because we didn't know what the premiere was gonna be or not. But we're back. It's good to be back. We had a little intermission. April was a big month for us. But here we are with some more episodes, more good conversation. So remember and continue to go ahead and show love the way y'all do. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram or give us a like, a subscribe on YouTube, our main channels, of course. And then you can also find us, of course, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and on any platform. Just make sure you guys are showing love, giving it a like, giving it a rating, sharing it, whatever you guys can do to help this series get across more eyes. But let's get back to the show. Today, episode 16, we got a special guest, another legend in the building. It ain't no different. She is the founder and executive director of Mija, Yes You Can. And you can catch her in the mornings vibing out with Grizz, KISSFM 93.1. She has a good and chunky tenure of media here in El Paso, and I want to dig into the timeline of that, and I want to see how that all balances into the world of nonprofits. So without further ado, we got Iris Lopez at the HQ. Yeah. Oh, I could have done that a little bit better. I forgot to turn it up. Iris.
You know what? Let's make it louder.
Okay. Well, not louder, but like from the beginning. Because it fades in, you know?
That was beautiful.
Iris, how we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I love that shirt. You know, where'd you get it?
Had to rep. Had to rep, you know? I have the attire, and whenever I have a proper shirt, I want to make sure I wear it for the episode.
I love it. See, now I feel bad. I'm not wearing it. But I told you, I just didn't want to wear pants today. It is hot out there.
Yeah. I saw on my phone right now 100, and I was like, oh, damn.
Like, nope.
Here we go. I asked you about the AC because I don't have the AC in my car. It's not working. I don't know what the issue is.
Oh, no.
I don't care. That car is going till the wheels fall off. So I'll sweat.
Just roll the windows down. Just roll them down.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hot. But I wanted to ask you, speaking of like weather and time a little bit, as like a Kickstarter to the conversation, aside from today, how has the first half of your 2024 been going so far?
First half, great. You know, it's been going good. Busy, not too busy. I'm enjoying life.
Yeah.
A lot of new things happening, but overall, it's safe to say it's been a great start.
Are you like a resolution type of person?
Yes and no. I'll make them, but then I'm more like the resolutions is more for me emotionally and mentally. Like, you know, I want to make sure, like, for instance, one big thing is I want to try and live in the moment. That's kind of my thing, because I have this, what I realized last year was I was trying to build this legacy. So busy making a legacy with Mija, Yes You Can, my work, something for my son, that I was, as morbid as it sounds, I was planning for my death. I was not living that legacy. So now I am living that legacy. And, you know, if I leave a good legacy behind, I do. If not, I can say I enjoyed my life, and that's what I'm doing 2024.
Yeah.
It's deep. We got deep.
That's it. We got our
And cut.
we got our clips. How does that transition work? Like, what do you mean by you go from like planning for your death in a way, like you're already looking at what you're gonna leave behind rather than living in it? What are the sort of like actual like things that you changed in order to like change that mindset, or is it just a mindset change?
No, it is a lot of. Just slowing down and actually living in the moment. And like when I started Mija, Yes You Can, I was always go, go, go. I felt like I had to prove myself to everybody. I had been in media for almost 7 years, but I still felt like I needed to prove myself. Like, who's this little girl creating this nonprofit? She doesn't know anything about nonprofit world. And so for the past, Mija, Yes You Can just turned 4 years young.
Mm-hmm.
The first, I know.
Well, when was the anniversary wasn't that long ago, right?
March, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're 4 years young.
Mm-hmm.
But the first, I would say 2-3 years, I was just go, go, go. There was even a point where my calendar was so filled up that I would look at it and I was like, oh, how cool, I'm busy. But then I was like, wait, but you don't have time for you, don't have time for your son. I had no time for a love life. I was like, oh, forget that. So I was too busy going. And this last year and this year, I'm reminding myself to slow down, enjoy, to say no. That's a big thing, especially for women. We feel like we have to say yes to every opportunity because we're afraid it's not going to come back. And my motto now is, I'm going to say no. And if they really want to work with me, they really want to be with me, they'll come back. And that's what I've been doing.
Not to put it in a framing of like regret. I don't want to make it sound like that, but looking back at those times where you feel like you weren't really even present in these times, it was just so busy. Do you feel like that was still a necessary time or like a necessary like part of this process, or would you rather like have been more present during that time?
And it's a good way of saying that, like regret. Sometimes I do, but I have to change my mindset. I don't regret. I did have to go through that in order to be where I'm at right now. So sometimes, I will get that, I regret it. My son's already 14, this and that. But then there's moments where my son reminds me that, I was a good mom. There's times where he has moments where he's like, remember, Mom, when we used to live here and we used to do this? Remember that trip we took? And it's those little moments where I'm like, okay, you didn't do so bad. You were still present, just not as much as you wanted. But now so be more present now. So
what are some things that you feel like you maybe missed out on or weren't present enough? Like, what are some of the like specific activities that make you feel like, that make you sometimes feel like you would have been, like you could have been more present? Like, did you miss some games or something like that?
No, and you know what? Now that I look back, I'm like, I didn't really do that. But I think I'm just so hard on myself as being a single mom. Because him and I, every spring break, we would always take a trip. And if we didn't, it was a small little, Rio and come back. And we always had that tradition. So I look back and I'm like, you did do stuff, when you could, when you had the money. He wasn't involved in sports, thank goodness, because I wouldn't have had the time for that. And I think I would have felt even more bad not being there. Now he's more involved in sports, and now I'm like, oh, perfect timing, kid, thanks, because I'm able to be more present there.
Which sports?
Football.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he wants to be.
In the theme of like not regret but changing stuff, I think that's one of the things I would have changed as like a teenager. I would have like tried out football. I just didn't do it. There was no really reason.
And my son, I think he got into it this last football season. Him and I and my boyfriend Gabe, we would watch football a lot, and so I think he got really into the football of it all.
Niners.
I know the Niners. Go Niners. But also go Broncos. But also go Dolphins, because that's my son's team. Anyways, we're all over the place.
Man.
I'm all over the place.
Dang.
And he really got into that, and so I think that kind of helped him have more of a passion for football.
I get you. So then, I think we're going to interweave our way through the conversation on how we get to these points. But in today's world, as of today, right now, what is like your wheel of life consist of? You have personal time, of course, but then you have Mija, Yes You Can, KISSFM. Is there any other parts of the wheel that I might be missing?
So I do a lot of, like as far as like work and stuff, side work. I'll do like commercial work for local businesses. But with that too, I have to slow down too, because I could say yes to absolutely everything, and then I get my body's gonna remind me, girl, slow down. But I do like doing that, working with local companies and kind of helping them, because I have this platform that I'm thankful for. I'm reminded every day I have this platform that I can use it if I can help a local business however I can. Then I'm gonna do it as much as I can.
With what do you so that platform it's like a separate entity from KISSFM and
just like the platform in general, like
the name of Iris Lopez.
I call myself, and this sounds, I hate saying it out loud, but a brand, because for the past 10 years, I literally I built it.
Yeah.
Any little thing can just destroy it, and people are like, well, why don't you want to do this and that? And I'm like, because that can destroy what I built for 10 years. The sacrifices I made, as crazy as that sounds to some people, to me, it's something I built.
Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be exciting. Okay, so Mija, that wasn't. I didn't mean for that to be so ominous. That was just like genuine. Oh, these are gonna be like good questions. I already like how like right off the bat, the first thing that you like point out is that you are a brand, and maybe I can see why you might hate saying that, but like I feel I can totally understand. So maybe we could be a little bit easier on it for the rest of the conversation. Like, I totally understand, and like I'm very fascinated with how people go about structuring a brand, whether it's in a face of a brand or like an animate thing, like a logo or whatever. But it just always rattles my interest. But I do want to start with Mija, Yes You Can. You said it just turned 4. For the archives and for the episode, may we begin with you explaining the mission of Mija, Yes You Can.
So I created Mija Yes You Can 4 years ago, literally the week before the pandemic. Literally, I was in Austin, and that's when the world shut down. And I came back, and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel like women are going to need some motivation, are going to need this. So it started off as just a T-shirt. My cousin made the original. I call it the OG T-shirt that I still have at my house.
Nice.
And I posted a picture. From there, people were like, how can we buy that shirt? And then the wheels started turning. And so it turned to a Facebook page, then to a website where I was like, let me share women's stories because everyone's at home. Let me blog. I mean, it was easy for me to write. I was working from home. And to what it is now, I was like, how can I do more? Scholarships. It's a nonprofit organization to remind women of all ages, all backgrounds that an equal world is possible. And we're pretty much like their cheerleaders. And there's a reason why it's in English and Spanish, because many people ask me, why not Mija si se puede? In the broadcasting world, I was surrounded by women of different cultures, different backgrounds, and I loved that. And when we brought them when they would hang out like at our family parties or something, they loved first and foremost that everyone would call them Mija. They're like, Mija, everyone calls us that. And I joke and say, well, it's because my mom can't I can't remember names. So she's just like, Mija, mijo,
Yeah.
okay. But it's also a term of endearment, so I wanted to mix English and Spanish so everyone can feel welcome, not just Latinas.
Yeah, it's a good blend. So it's in that moment, but I feel like in other interviews, I feel like either you've explained it in a way where there's also still a backstory in a way. What is that backstory? How do you lead up to, having this interest of women empowerment and it being important to you?
Of course. So as it mainly really got ignited when I was in the broadcasting world, male-dominated business, and I was fresh. I didn't know. I was just thankful that the number one TV station in El Paso wanted to put me on TV and give me a job, and I took whatever I could take. Then as I got through it, I started, realizing the pay gap between women and men, and how my female coworkers were getting treated, and I didn't like it. And there was an instant where one of my friends, told us a story, and she didn't want to speak up though because everyone was afraid they would lose their job. And there was a point where I was like, I got enough money saved. Okay, I'm going to speak up for them with one of my bosses behind closed doors. If I lose I think I remember saying that to her. They're like, if you want to fire me, fire me. In my mind, I was like, I have enough for rent for 2 months, so please don't fire me. But I wanted to be a voice for them, just to put that little light bulb in, management's mind that, the girls, we can't speak up. We feel like we can't. And I wanted to create Mija Yes You Can to be that platform for other women. And first it was just journalists. And then women in all different fields started coming out with their stories and how wearing the shirt, I jokingly say it gives you superpowers, but it really does. People will wear it through I'm going through my chemotherapy. I wore the shirt. I'm going to ask for a raise. I wore the shirt.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I even do it. I wear the shirt too because I believe in my mission that much that if I'm going to do something, put the shirt on, put a nice little blazer, some high heels, and it makes me feel powerful. It's a simple but powerful phrase. And I just wanted to use it as a way to encourage other women, to let them know, yeah, you can do it.
Man, deep.
I know. I get very deep.
That's good. What do you have when you look at? Oh, hold on. The business structure of it. It's a nonprofit. Did you initially kind of was it in your early plans of Mija Yes You Can for it to kind of become something of that sort, a nonprofit?
Yeah, it always was. And I went through a lot. The first year was a rough year because I was learning. I've always had a passion for giving back to my community. My parents instilled that in me as a young child because, we didn't have all the money in the world. But especially for me, for NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, I'm very big on mental health awareness. And I, to this day, say NAMI saved my life. And they gave me a platform to talk about my struggles with depression and anxiety. And I was like, I have no money to donate to them, but how else could I help them? And I remember I'm good friends with the executive director, and they were just volunteer your talents. I had this platform that I could use. I was like, oh, if I can't give you money, I can help out in other ways, my time, my energy, my talents, and most importantly, my platform. So that's where the love of volunteer work and community service came in. So when I created Mija Yes You Can, it was always going to be a nonprofit. There was points where I would get steered into like, well, you have a t-shirt, why don't you make it a business? It was like so close to doing that, but thankfully I had my close friends that were like, no, that's not who you are. You don't want to make a business. I mean, nonprofit is technically kind of a business, but not really. But I wanted it to be more of, volunteer based.
Is it your first? It's the first time you found your own nonprofit. Is it the first one that you either like assist or are a part of in its beginnings as well, or is?
Yeah, because I volunteered for Make-A-Wish here and I volunteered for NAMI, but it was just volunteer work. So I didn't know anything about the structure of board, everything you do, the money part of it. I'm still learning. Like, I have this fancy title, and sometimes that's where the, I sometimes, imposter syndrome comes in because I'm like, I have this fancy title. I'm a founder, executive director, but I still don't know everything. But that's good. I'm still learning, and I'm still eager to learn.
I believe you answered one of the questions because I feel like I read it. I wasn't sure if it just wasn't really clearly stated to me. I still was curious about it. But by creating a nonprofit, you essentially aren't the owner. Like, it's not really an owner. It's more like a board.
Yeah.
What's the minimum? How many people are on your board?
On our board, we have 12.
There's 12.
Well, at first we started with 20.
Okay. Because
we just had so many women that wanted to help out, and it was so beautiful. But then we had too many chefs in the kitchen, and I was still trying to figure out what Mija Yes You Can is. So we learned a lot from the first year.
Is there still ownership? Like, does ownership still get retained when you make a nonprofit?
Yeah, and that goes into like bylaws. So it's still my baby. However, I can't make like all the rules. I have a vote, which is nice though, because at first that was a scary thing. Everyone's like, but this is yours. What do you mean they can take it away from you? And I'm like, they can, but they can't. In the bylaws, it's still always mine. But I'm not the head decision maker, which is good because my ideas seem great to me. And then sometimes I'm reminded, well, you could do it this way. And, our board, right now, the board of women, I always say, like if one day I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, you guys have it, they can handle it. And they would go with the mission exactly how I envisioned it. And that's a solid board. And so they're all smarter than me. I've learned hire people, or not hire, but get people on your board that are smarter than you so they can teach you. And all those women are so much smarter than me.
Are any of the other members like previous founders or anything of their own nonprofits or helped start any others?
No, a lot of them have been in like community service, done community service, been a part of boards, but the majority is fresh faces that just wanted to be a part of a nonprofit, but they feel intimidated. Because, sometimes when you're nonprofits, they ask if you have experience, if you have this and that. Because that's, a nonprofit that's been around for 20 years. They know what they want. We're still fresh, so we kind of give a platform for women who have never been in the nonprofit world to jump in and kind of see what it's about.
What were some of the technical, and I guess I'm asking a few more questions about it because there's been times where we've dabbled about our platform becoming a nonprofit. But what are some of the technical and like legal to-dos that you've had to like go through in order to go through the entire process of registering the nonprofit?
So I did it all through LegalZoom.
Okay.
Is how I did the nonprofit to be considered a nonprofit.
Which would have been a lot of other people's like process with maybe doing like an LLC, for example?
Yeah. Okay. So you can do both. And I mean, the process is pretty simple. I did fork over all the money firsthand.
Okay.
Shout out to my income tax at that time. I had money and I was like, we're using it for this. And
it was the 2-month savings.
Yeah. I was like, sorry, I'm going to be out in the streets, but hey, Mija, yes, you can. But first what I really did was I trademarked Mija, yes, you can.
Okay.
I had, and it's funny, a lot of the things I did started off, it was men who were so encouraging. They were like, I don't know what you're doing, but I like it, but do this, do that. And thankfully, they helped lead me and got that trademarked, got my website, and that I did LegalZoom. But the issue I ran into was I didn't have money to pay people. I didn't have that much time either. I was still working at KVIA. So there was really no time to just stop what I was doing and do this full time. So we're actually, Mija Yes You Can is a fund of Paso del Norte Community Foundation, and they help us with the financial part of stuff.
Okay.
So they take, because when it comes to taxes and all that, that's just scary. That scares me so much.
Yeah. They take care of that?
Yeah, so
Oh,
they take care of that. You know, they take a small percentage of the donations that we get, but they help a lot in that sense. And so they're pretty much our bank, you know, until
Okay.
one day when we feel comfortable enough, you know, we get this $5 million donation, then, you know.
Some secret angel
I know,
investor.
just
Yeah.
putting that out into the universe, and I'm able to pay a staff, and we're able to be on our own, which I think one day we will be able to. I know one day we will be able to.
At the moment, is it still kind of bounded within El Paso, or have you done some work in Cruces or anything? Like, have you started to?
No, yeah, it's just El Paso. We have people that buy our shirts from
Yeah.
everywhere, and we love seeing the orders that come in from New York, Chicago, here and there, and I'm like, how cool, someone in New York is just rocking a Mija Yes You Can shirt.
Someone just walking at Mija.
Exactly. But it starts the conversation. The
Yeah.
best is when the men wear it, because they're like, but you're a mijo. And it's like, but let me tell you about empowering women, you know?
Yeah.
So, but right now it is just here, because again, we don't have, you know, enough woman power to be out there yet. But
Yeah.
slowly but surely we're making our way out. I did a keynote speaking event at Sol Ross. They invited me to go out there.
It's like in like Waco-ish area. Like it's like,
In Alpine.
okay, that's like Central Texas.
Yeah, so it's like about 4 hours away. So for me, that was like a little baby step. And they were like, whenever you want to come out this way, and I always have people in San Antonio and Austin, whenever you want to come out this way. So I know we have people waiting with open arms. I'm like, one day we'll get there.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to, you know, make chapters. That's what a lot of people want.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, but I'm like, first, let's figure out this chapter in my life,
Chapters.
and then we can start more chapters.
The alpha chapter. As far as planning out the future, are you the type to kind of just go day by day, or do you have like 5-year plans? Like, how do you go about visualizing that?
I'm a little bit of both. I think for the most part, day by day.
Yeah.
But I do have, well, I mean, back then I said in 5 years, I want us to be our own nonprofit. I mean, we're at year 4, so who knows? It could happen in the next year. But I do give myself those little tidbits, like in maybe 2 more years, I want to be able to pay someone to do this. So a little bit of both, but right now it is kind of like day by day.
Yeah. Do you wait? So is Paso del Norte? Have you ever heard of a fiscal sponsorship? Have you ever heard of that?
I believe yes, I have.
Okay.
But no, yeah, there are. So we're like what a gift, like I don't know how to explain it, but
Like a sub
Yeah.
thing? Okay. Because that was like our entrance in like into nonprofits in a way. It's sort of like you get funded through a different nonprofit, so that way you don't actually have to file as a nonprofit.
oh, okay,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it was starting to sound a little familiar, but then not really at the same time.
Yeah, no, yeah, because even Paso told us, you know, there's people that are under their funds that still apply for their own 501c3.
Yeah.
So they can use Paso's, but they also have theirs, you know, just in case, you know, you're like, okay, I can do it on my own now, and you'll still have your own 501c3.
Yeah. What does your team look like in terms of whenever you're gonna, or as you've embarked on this? It's a big learning curve
Oh, yeah.
of understanding nonprofits. Have you had like an attorney or like an accountant kind of like by your side that you know of that has kind of helped you along the way, or has a lot of this been sort of self-taught?
No, it's the girls, and the
Yeah.
girls that, like right now, our treasurer, she works in the accounting and numbers. And so before the treasurer we have right now, it was my sister's mother-in-law that really just wanted to be a part of it, but she was great with finances, and she was great. And then she was like, okay, I think it's time for me to, you know, move away and let someone else take the spot. And I was nervous because for me, it's the money thing that just scares me and makes me nervous because I'm just not good with money or numbers. And so we got our treasurer now, and she has a background, and she's just so smart. It comes easy to her. And she teaches all of us stuff like, well, you know, why aren't you doing this? And I'm like, oh, because I thought this and that. And she's like, well, maybe you should do this. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. And we just have a lot of girls that have that experience.
Put that little trick in my bag.
Yes. And they're not afraid to speak up
Yeah.
because sometimes I feel like people can think, you know, it's my baby, don't touch it. And I'm like, no, like, please help me out however you can because it's technically all of ours.
Yeah. You said that you were a little iffy whenever you get into the fun sections of stuff. How does what's the fundraising experience for you like with Mija Yes You Can? Do you think that you find yourself wanting to go to the whiteboard to see how you could be better a lot? Are you pretty satisfied with where you guys are?
Oh no, we still have a lot of work. And the fundraising, I think that's my, because in my mind, I'm like, I just want the money to fall. But no, it's about going to events, shaking hands, talking to people. And I went to an event late last year, where it was a mentorship sort of event. And we were talking to other women in the community who own businesses or nonprofits. And I remember specifically I spoke about fundraising. And I was like, it's tough asking for money. And one of the ladies was like, you have to remind them where their money's going. It's not just about, hey, give me your money. We're a nonprofit. They're like, well, where's my money? Like, do you have a daughter? Does your daughter like doing this? Well, if you help us donate to Mija Yes You Can, your funds are going to go to help us create this after-school program for troubled kids in this school district. So that's something I just learned, and now I'm trying to implement it. We have to...
The program?
Yeah, the programs, and just to the people that are giving, that want to donate the money, here's why and where your money's going to go.
There's a clear pipeline.
Like a clear, instead of just like, it's just going to go into the fund. It's like, I know, but where exactly? Because I want to know. They want to be proud enough to say like, oh yeah, I donate and my money helps that after school program.
The scholarships too, right? You were mentioning that.
Yeah, that was my big one, scholarships, because the number one excuse for a lot of women and men too is, they stop going for their dreams because I just didn't have the money for it. And especially education, there's women who, have a kid, they put it on pause and they're like, I don't want to go back because I don't have the money for it, or I don't have the motivation for it.
And they're like one semester away or something like
so
that.
I wanted to try and eliminate that phrase, I don't have the money for it, and be like, well, here, we'll give you a little bit of money to help out.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Yes, Mija, yes, you do now.
Yeah.
So that was big for the scholarships. And then, of course, young kids, just to help the parents out when the young kids want to go to camp or they want to go to a college that the parents can't really afford.
Have you kickstarted any of the scholarships at this point?
Yeah, so we've already given over $20,000 of scholarships. It was thanks to the first two was a donation from El Paso Electric. They gave us a grant,
Oh, nice.
two years in a row, the grant. So that helped us out a lot. But now, and this past Mija market we had, and that's where our treasurer, she was like, all the funds from this Mija market, we're going to dip it into our scholarship so we can provide the scholarships directly. Instead of having to wait for people to give us money, grants, let's have this pot of money where we can say this was directly from Mija Yes You Can. We had that Mija market, we worked our booty off, raised all these funds so you can have the scholarship. And it means a little bit more.
The Mija market was not that long ago, right?
Yeah, or it was supposed to be in March, and then Mother Nature was like, no, let's move it. So it was on Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't long ago. It was at...
Chico Relic.
Yes, okay. And then how does that work then? So it's a market, but how were you collecting the funds? Through donations, or was it just strictly off like your merch?
So the merchandise was the big one.
Yeah.
And then the vendors. So every year, the past 3 years, we wouldn't charge vendors because for me, it was a celebration of women-owned businesses. And I wanted them to come and we were celebrating them. But then that's, when my treasurer was like, well, if we're talking about money and creating this, let's charge them a little bit. Not a lot, but still enough to put some money in the pot. And all the vendors were like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No one complained or said, no, I don't want to. No, everyone was just happy to be there. And we still spoiled our vendors, fed them. Made sure that they were taken care of.
Yeah, at that point, it doesn't really feel like a fee.
Yeah, it
feels
doesn't.
like a donation to the cause.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was. We were telling them, your donation is going to help us fund these scholarships. And then we had sponsors that helped us pay for some stuff. And the merchandise, our Mija pop-up, the shirts and all that, really is going to help us.
Have you, is this market the first of its kind, or is it like the annual, like third annual at this point?
Yeah, it was the third annual. Third annual because the first year, it was the fourth annual.
Okay.
Because it was the third time. Yeah, it was the third time we had it at Chico Relic. The first year we did something kind of different. We had it because we used to have a storefront at the outlet shops of El Paso. They donated that space to us.
Wow.
When it's under new management now, but back then it was during the pandemic and they had so much empty space that they were like, would you like to have your shirts here for free? Absolutely free.
Wow.
But then when they had new management, they were like, sorry. I was like, that's fine. The outlet shops was 45 minutes away from me anyway.
Pandemic's over.
I know. Pandemic's over, bye. But so we had like a celebration there. But then year 2, I've always been fond of Chelsea from Chico Relic, woman-owned business, a chingona in her own right. And So we asked, could we do a market here? And she was like, yeah, of course. And it was just a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
So ever since then, every year we do it there. We're starting to get bigger and bigger. So one year we're going to have to expand. But for now, the partnership we have with Chico Relic is it's just beautiful.
Yeah, that's good. You've worked with like Old Sheepdog Brewery as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a good little teamwork partnership with them
Oh,
too.
I love them. I
this.
love
Yeah,
that
yeah.
place. They have a one of our Mija brew. We went to go brew
Yeah.
a beer there, and they have it. Oh, it tastes delicious. So yeah, I need to try it because a portion of that goes back to us, and that's our
Is it
fundraising
there already?
too.
Is it there right now?
Yeah, it's there. It's there right now.
Oh, okay.
And that's how we fundraise too, partnering with local
Yeah.
businesses, and we use our platform to promote them as much as we can, and vice versa. And
Are these you know how you said a lot of the people that you like to bring onto the team around you, you want them to be better than you at these certain tasks or roles? Are you the head of like the fundraising, or did you kind of find someone also that's like a beast with that?
I think that one's a team effort.
Okay.
Because everyone still, isn't sure, and not everyone has participated in so much fundraising. So I would say that one's a team effort.
Okay.
Because people have ideas, and they're like, maybe we could do this, and someone will say, well, yeah, we could do that, but how about this? So it's just ideas and everyone coming to an agreement.
When you're looking to partner with other organizations and businesses, are you do you have like what's that experience like for you, or do you want each one to feel different, or do you kind of at least start with a template email that you kind of like send out to everyone? What's that process like?
Thankfully, the past 4 years, they've reached out to us.
Okay, nice.
So that's always nice because it shows they want to work with us. But lately, and what I've, had to implement too, because we'll get so many ideas, but not a plan, and then it turns into more of work on our side. So if people come to us with an idea and a plan, I'm like, oh, well then, yeah, how can we help you? Like First Light Federal Credit Union, we do workshops with them. And they had the idea. Helping women financially and men with financial workshops, and they do the heavy load, and we help out by bringing the people and using our platform and creating social media content.
Yeah.
So that's a match made in heaven too. But it started with them saying, hey, here's how we think we can help you and how it'll benefit us and vice versa. So that's been pretty much how that's worked out.
Mija, yes, you can. It sounds like it would just take up all of your time, and then just to think about it, and it's like, whoa, wait. You also have an entire other section of your career.
Oh, yeah.
But I think a good segue question for this is, do you feel like it could go either way? But I'll start with this way. Do you feel like Mija, yes, you can has been very complimentary to your work within TV and radio?
Oh yeah. It gave me more of an identity. I guess people didn't really, on TV. I was just that weather girl
The
that.
brand's kind of going up.
Yes,
going
a
up.
little bit. Yeah.
And then Mija, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Boom.
Really helped it out. It's funny. We went to where did we went to go see Journey, me and my boyfriend, and we were walking upstairs, and some guy was like, "Oh, you're the Mija."
Oh yeah.
I was like, "What?" And I had done an interview earlier that day for the Mija market.
Oh okay.
And it's just funny how they know me now as Mija, and sometimes they don't even know me as the weather girl or the girl on the radio. And I'm like, I like that. Like, you know me for the community service I do, and not all that other stuff.
And the project that like you launched.
Yeah,
You know? That's
yeah.
cool.
So that makes me that makes me happy.
Going into TV and radio, can you give me a quick summary of the different roles that you had leading up to where you are now?
So I originally started in radio at Hit FM. I worked my way up there, and I loved everything there. But there was a point where I was like, I want to try something different. So that's when I went to Channel 7, started as a reporter, and radio helped me with ad-libbing. And they had an opening for weather. And people think that weather anchors, meteorologists read from a prompter. Oh, no, that's all in our head. Like, we're not looking at a prompter. So they're like, you're good at ad-libbing. We're going to teach you. Doppler Dave is a genius. He's just, I love him. Shout out to Doppler Dave. And he taught me everything I know about weather. Great teacher. I was nervous. I was like, you guys want me to do weather? But weather, you just, need to learn from a professional, have a personality, and ad-lib. So I was like, okay, let me try it.
So you don't necessarily need to like be a meteorologist or anything like that?
Not necessarily. You would be just considered a weather anchor. So
Okay.
for me, I was just a weather anchor. Not just a weather anchor. I was a weather anchor.
Yeah, there you go.
But the meteorologist title is something big. So when people would call me a meteorologist, I'm like, no, I'm a weather anchor.
There
You
you
got to respect the fact that these
it humble.
meteorologists went to school, studied hard, and they know They know their stuff. So I made the move to weather, which I liked because I could have more personality. So a lot of people were introduced to my corniness.
Oh, okay. Are you saying because like reporting, it's a little bit more, gotta get straight to the
way
thing?
more serious.
Okay.
And I'm not a serious person as much as I'm just not a serious person. But I would make it work. I would still do reporting. But then I wanted to find a way to still report, but to report on the fun stuff, the good stuff. And that's when I created KVIA Sunday Fun Day Moments. So that was a weekly segment that I was able to create. And they still have it there. It's an on-air franchise.
Oh, nice.
After I left, they were like, we're still going to continue it, which is great because I was like, the world's so full of such negative news. There's so much positive news. Even if we sprinkle it one day out of the week, why not? So I would do the Sunday Fun Days, weather, but then, I just overworked, underpaid, and I wanted to try something different. So I took a break for 6 months. I had enough saved. I always say that. I don't know how, but I did have enough saved. And that's when I focused on Mija, Yes You Can. But then, time was coming and I was like, okay, gotta find a job. And I would apply for a lot of jobs. And I thought I had this great background. I also had public relations experience, but there was no bites. But I'm glad there was no bites because that's when the opening at KISSFM just magically appeared. I applied. That was a long process to get it, but they called me when it was my last month that I had for rent. I was like, after this, and I was getting assistance. I was on food stamps. I was getting assistance as much as I could. But then I was like, girl's going to run out. And I got the job there. And now, I'm doing, started at the 3:00 hour, then made my way up to the morning show. And I love it. I can be myself more on the radio.
It's kind of become your own thing at this point, right? Because like when you're on the morning shows, it's like it's not just like the station at this point. Now you're listening to like
you're literally morning, in the room listening to a conversation with me and Grizz.
Yeah,
and it's like you're one of our friends.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is what we're talking about. Oh, but we're talking to you too. So it's a lot more. It's a lot more fun. That's why when people ask, "Do you miss TV?" I do, but I don't. Radio just allowed me to be more of who I am.
Yeah, I feel like the person you probably connect with most in media personalities is like the morning show host. Yeah. Because like I remember growing up, that was all I listened to when I was listening to radio. I don't think I ever caught like afternoon radio.
And if you did if I did, it was just a voice. I remembered a voice.
Yeah, you didn't really know who it was.
Yeah, but morning, you're with them for 4 hours, so you hear them talk about their struggles. I'm having a bad day. I'm this and that. And sometimes I'm reminded. I'll be at Walmart getting a bottle of wine, and someone will be like, "Oh, hey, is your neck feeling better?" And I'm like, "What?
Really?
I forgot I spoke about that in the morning show." Oh yeah.
So little side question: in a separate interview that you had done, you said that working as a server helped you pick up more Spanish.
Yes.
But in the world that you work within, what's your fluency look like today? Like, are
more
you
English. I know enough Spanish to get me by, but I still hate that part. I'm like, I don't know enough Spanish.
I feel like you might come into a lot of engagements where you trip up often because of how many people recognize you,
Yes. And see, the thing is, and I'll always, I don't know enough Spanish, but I'm always going to try.
Yeah.
And I'll speak to people as much, and then sometimes I'll stumble, and I'll ask, how do you say this? And they just appreciate that I'm trying. So I'm like, okay, thank you. Let's meet halfway. You don't know English. I don't know that much Spanish, but let's help each other,
You just magically know,
the
words that they don't know.
Yeah, they'll be like, they'll see my hand movements or something. They'll say, oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope that's what I meant.
It's one of my biggest goals is to become a lot more fluent in Spanish for sure.
Yes, if I were to go back to school, and a part of me wants to, but I'm like, you don't have time, girl. I would. Well, the irony is I minored in Spanish. I hate putting that on like stuff because then they'll be like, oh, they'll speak to me in Spanish. I'm like, look, I got through those courses too fast, and I regret it now. But if I could go back to learn, if I could go back to learn Spanish in school, I would. But right now, I just use the people around me that help me out.
What's your major in?
Multimedia journalism.
Okay. Are you learning multimedia? Every time I hear that, like with David's education, it's in digital media production as well. So I think it might be that. Like that, I immediately think multimedia. You're learning some technical things.
No, I didn't learn any back then. Back then, as if it was that long ago. But technology in the digital world wasn't as big as it is now. So back the digital multimedia journalism was just for print and for radio and to learn how to report. So it was just learning the different types of media as far as that, TV, radio, and print.
Okay. So then your career isn't something that you just like stumbled on. Like you were aiming for something within this field, whether it be TV or radio.
Yeah, because originally I wanted to be a singer. I love music, but then life had other plans for me, and I'm just an entertainer. I was like, I can't sit in an office. I have to find something where I'm still entertaining people, and it's not a regular 8 to 5. Because my ADHD will not allow it. I mean, how many times have I hit the microphone right now? I move a lot, and that's just what I like to do.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, broadcasting, that's entertaining, and I like telling stories. I like writing songs. So I was like, writing songs, I can write stories, and it just fell together.
Yeah. You know how you were explaining in the beginning about recognizing yourself as a brand? Mm-hmm. Is that a learning curve that you kind of grasped onto over time, or right from the beginning while you were still in university going through your education, you already kind of understood that that's the trajectory of this sort of career?
That one I learned, and I'll give 2 people that I learned that from, Estela Casas and DJ Johnny Cage.
Ooh,
they are
legends.
both, they are, right?
Yeah.
And they are both brands. And I see the way they brand themselves. Like Johnny Cage is great at doing it. And I see that, and that's where I learned it from. Because, they had a name, they were very well known, and any little mistake they would make, it was going to be under a microscope like everyone. So, and that's how it's a brand, because someone's trying to destroy it. And I learned from, honestly, them too. I started off at Hit FM, and I slowly started to see how Johnny would do it, what he would do. And then when I went to the TV world, Estela Casas taught me more of her community service, and I learned the community service side from her. And now looking at them, I'm still learning. So I still see how they do stuff. And yeah. So it's
like the full scope of being a personality in your community.
And being, legends, icons. You say the names. I mean, I said the names and you were like, oh,
yeah,
you know who they are because they built that brand.
So then, speaking of like brands and on the theme and idea of it, TV versus radio, what do you think is your freedom of opinion different between the two worlds? Like being on TV versus being in the morning? Like have you felt more freedom in one of those?
Oh, yeah. TV world, I mean, for instance, the big one I always talk about is when I spoke about my mental, I wrote an article one time that was, "Hi, my name is Iris and I'm bipolar." And my bosses didn't really like that because, talking about your mental health, mental illnesses, it was taboo.
Yeah.
Now, I am so happy that we were just freely talking about it. But back then, it wasn't sexy to talk about that. So my bosses actually told me, be careful. There's a thin line there on what you're talking about, which was mind-blowing because I was like, wait, so people can talk about, their diabetes, cancer, arthritis, this, that, but I can't talk about one of the number 1 silent killers in the world that is impacting me. It's like, no, because, it's not something we want to talk about. So that was a big thing, but I still did it. I still did. And they told me to not do it, and I was like, watch, I'm going to do it louder. But it was stuff like that where you just had to, and that's just the TV world. You have to put this sort of, and that's why a lot of people think people on TV are perfect, and they make a little mistake, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, we're not perfect. We are not perfect. In the radio world, it's my bosses tell me, like, I'll tell them a story, and they're like, say that on air. They push me talking about my mental health awareness. They push me talking about me high as you can because they want the listeners to be able to relate to me. And that's what I love about radio. I can be myself.
Do you think that the visual aspect is the number 1 key? So like being able to relate, you just hear a voice, like you imagine how the person looks?
Yeah.
As opposed to TV, like you see how they look?
You see them all. And see, when I was growing up, I saw everyone on TV, the girls are beautiful, hair, makeup, this and that. So I was like, they're all perfect. But in radio, I didn't see anyone's face or anything. And it was just that voice that I was listening to. And I appealed to them more because I didn't have this visual.
It's like when you read a book.
Yeah.
You imagine the character.
You're making up your own characters, your own people. And that's why sometimes when they meet me in person, they'll be like, oh, you're a lot tinier than I envisioned. I'm like, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
I have no idea. They'll still tell me that when I would do the weather, they're like, oh, you're a lot smaller than I imagined. I was like, I'm fun size, everyone.
And again, in an older interview, you had mentioned about finding your radio voice. Is that like a one-day thing, or did that actually take like a
no.
big process?
It was a process.
Yeah?
When I was at Hit FM, shout out to Joey C. Joey C. He's now in Houston, I believe. Went to San Antonio, Houston, still works in the radio world, but he was at Hit FM, and he's the one who actually gave me the name Lily Lopez.
Yeah.
He was just such a genius, because at first it was going to be Iris Lopez, but he was like, it doesn't roll off the tongue. And no one knew who Iris Lopez was yet, so I was just this chick. So he's like, you can create a character. And that's really what I do. And Lily Lopez is still around. She has Iris pays the bills, Lily spends the money.
Okay.
That's what I always say.
That's a good way to put it.
But so he helped me create the name. So he's like, okay, now you have your own personality. And I specifically remember going into the recording booths, and he's like, say this line. I'd say it. And he's like, okay, say it again, but like this. And it was so much practice. When I go back and listen to my air checks, it's embarrassing. It was not easy. You think it's easy just popping open a mic and like, hey, it's 93.1 KISS FM. No, back then, it's 93.1 KISS FM. And I thought I was being energetic, but it was a learning. And then doing that, and then TV is different too. Completely different. So I can turn on and off the voices when I need to.
Man, yeah, I get what you mean. I feel like the more scripted it is, the harder it is to like read it.
Yes, yes,
it's just
it
better
is.
to freestyle it.
Oh yeah, that's why when I would have to read stuff on a prompter, I would always stumble. I'm like, just let me say whatever. It's easier to just not have that prompter.
Yeah, creating a team for Mija, yes you can, and then now building your morning team. Beyond just you and Grizz, is there like, do you also have more people on your team that you kind of like, see the morning show as, or is it just kind of just
Like as far as on-air personalities, it's just me and Gris
Yeah.
that are locally. But I mean, we have our bosses that help us because they've been in the business for so long, so they know what works and what doesn't. And there's times where I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work, and then I'm reminded why they're our bosses because they know it. But they still let us challenge them. That's the part I like, that they're like, okay, well, why don't you think it's gonna work? Okay, well, let's try it. And if it doesn't work, hey, you won, I lost. But for the most part, yeah, it's just me and Grizz.
Yeah.
And for a few months, it was just me, and it was tough because as much as I love to talk, and I talk to myself a lot, it just wasn't entertaining.
It's not as alive.
I was like, I need someone to respond. I need someone to argue with me, someone to make fun of me, and someone to relate.
Yeah.
So.
Was this an application process, or did you know you wanted Grizz for this position?
No, this was an application process, yeah. And I wasn't really. I was a part of it when they had a few options, names. And, and what I would do is I did research too. I would get their name, search them. How is their social media? Because nowadays, radio, it's all going to social media. You have to have, people are like, I don't want to be a part of the social media world. Well, if you're building a business, if you're part of the media world, you got to have social media presence. You don't have to have 20K followers. You just have to have some sort of presence on there. And I would look at people's stuff and how they interact, and if they have experience. Sometimes that doesn't even matter. If they have enough personality, hey, that can work, and we can train you how to be on the radio.
Did you have to train Grizz at all? He's such a good speaker.
Oh yeah. The only thing was because he would do radio and he would do jazz, so he has a very soothing
poetry.
Yes, he has a very soothing voice, and I love when I ask him for advice because he turns into his, well, you should. I'm like, thank you. He's like my unpaid therapist. And that was the struggle for him. He had to learn you have to be more upbeat. You have to be a little bit over the top. Sometimes you feel ridiculous, but if you feel ridiculous, it sounds good on the radio.
That's he's got the APM voice, the late night voice.
Yes, exactly. So no, but he's the great thing about him is he wants to learn, and that's what you got to do. Even though I've been doing this, and I told him that too. Even though I've been doing this for over 10 years, I still don't know everything. So if he has an idea, I'm like, shoot it my way. We're a team, and I'm still happy to learn because I don't know everything.
Yeah, the same way that you have key goals and maybe not 5-year plan, but you do, and it might be the majority day by day process for me, how you can, but you do have long-term planning. Do you also have that with your role in radio?
Yeah, I love my job. And I would like to grow it and stay there as long as I can. Even I know some of the what's the word called? Like doing voice tracking for out of state. What's the word called? I can't think of it right now, but
Me neither.
yeah. If I'll think, watch when I leave and be like, that's the word. But like being able to
We'll overdub it in.
overdub it. I'll call and be like, you just hear the difference in the
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
But like voice tracking, I mean, recording and being able to be on the radio station in California or something, you know.
Same station or like you?
No, other stations, because
Okay.
that's what we do. Some of the people on our station are from out of town, but they work at other stations, and they have like a studio in their house, and they record it, send it over, and they have their main station that they work for.
Oh, okay. So you'd be interested in doing something like that?
Yeah.
Is there like an ideal place that you'd like to do that for, like city wise or like state wise at least?
I mean, ideally, I could still do it from here,
Yeah.
but if I were to, and I say because I love
Who would you want to do radio for?
I love pop culture. I love entertainment news, Hollywood gossip, of course, so the Hollywood world. But as an adult, and every time I go visit like the California area, I'm just like, no, I want to do it. But like Ryan Seacrest was someone I remember telling my sister's boyfriend at the time. Now it's her husband. He asked me at a birthday party, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, I kind of want to be like Ryan Seacrest. He's on TV and he's on the radio. And at the time, he didn't really have his nonprofit that he has for the children's hospital where he's at. But now that I look back and I'm like, dang, without even remembering you said that, you kind of did do what Ryan Seacrest did. TV, radio. Now I just need to host a game show or something. And I'm set.
We got to get a game show going for
Please.
our podcast. Season 3, we have it in the works.
Oh,
We'll say it off camera, but I wanted to ask for KISSFM regarding radio as a whole and TV, honestly. How would you define the value of it in like today's world?
The radio?
Yeah, like where's the value in radio in like the age of social media and 1 minute, 30-second, 15-second reels?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, and when I told people I was going to radio, they were like, why? They're like, radio still exists? I'm like, oh, yeah, it still exists. It really does. And I'm reminded, again, when I go places and people remind me what I said, or, I mean, because if you think about it, and our demographic is nurses, teachers, moms taking their kids to school, and kids. Lately, and I was telling Grizz the other day, I was like, our demographic is mainly women, but lately all the calls we've gotten is men. And I think it's because they feel comfortable that it's me and Grizz, and they can disagree with me, but Grizz is still going to have their back, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So people are still listening. They still are listening, because not everyone listens to podcasts. Not everyone wants to listen to Sirius XM radio, whatever it is. They want good old-fashioned radio. Or maybe they haven't paid their subscription, so they're like, okay, let's turn on the radio, which is good for us.
What stations are still on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's still, I mean, it's still valuable. And the person, and it's just the personalities, having actual people there. And it's up to us to go out and be in the community and show our face, our voice. And
It's not like you guys also aren't, it's not like you guys are non-existent on social media either. Like you're still also creating content that suits that too.
oh yeah, and that's a big thing. And I noticed that I did become more into my social media once I was in radio, because I knew, okay, if I'm going to go do stuff and I want to host events, do this and that, they want to see the person behind the mic, because they just hear my voice. So I've been more active with social media, and that was something that I did have to learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
You already knew I was going to ask that.
Yeah. Oh, I did.
Because I was
have
going to
learn
say,
that
like,
one.
social media comes up probably around 2010-ish.
Yeah.
In that area. I was going to ask, is that something that you had picked up immediately? You know what I mean? Like, did you have a Facebook right when Facebook dropped? Or, like, is this something that you're like, oh, shoot, I got to, like, be more...
I didn't have a Facebook. When everyone had a Facebook, I didn't have it. And I think I got it after I had my son.
Okay.
Because for me, I was like, I want to show photos, of my son to family. So it was kind of like a family thing.
Yeah, okay.
And then when Instagram came, when I got into TV, that's when I really started doing it. Because even when I started at Hit FM, I don't even think I had like a barely starting it. But I look back at old posts, and it was just like selfies. And now I'm like, you got to be more creative. People don't just want to see your face. They want to see other stuff. So it is a learning process.
What's the process for you whenever you're creating some of your skits? Like, are you plotting it first, like genuinely? Like, are you giving it a real good, earnest effort to like storyboard it?
Like when I do it at the radio station. And jokingly, I tell them I'm a mean director because we'll do it. And then I look at it and I'm like, no, your voice didn't match the sound. Let's do it again, everyone. They're like, oh my gosh. We did one recently with the Buzz Adams show. And Buzz cannot understand why people like social media. He's like, people watch this? And I'm like, yeah, Buzz, look it. We got over 10,000 views on this. But why? I don't know. It gets the people going. But I remember we had to do it over and over. And he's like, Iris, I just want to go home and take a nap. And I was like, no, we're going to get this right. So when it's a group setting, it does have to be planned. When it's me, it's probably a little bit easier because it's just me. I don't have to worry about It's just me being at home. But I like doing silly stuff.
And you have like daily contact with Buzz because it's all in the same like.
Yeah.
How does that work? Like a little bit behind the scenes, a little look into behind the scenes. How does it work to have like two stations like that? Is there a competitive factor into that or not at all?
Not really. And I don't like making everything a
for
competition. Sure. And when I started there, it kind of was like that. And I was like, but why? We're all a team. But now we jokingly have competition. Like with social media, me and Grizz are always doing stuff. And they'll tell them, Buzz Adams show, you guys got to do some stuff. And Buzz still does not understand it. So we'll jokingly pick on him for that. But it's just like, other than that, we're still a family.
Is there a little bit of that reversal because of how long he's been in like radio to you guys?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
radio, might, like, not understand.
Even when I started in radio back in 2010, it was literally the radio DJs would just go on, do the show for 4 hours. After that, I mean, you wouldn't really do much. There was no websites. Well, there was websites.
Oh, this is Hit FM at the time.
Yeah,
right?
Hit FM. Yeah. So I remember I would try writing articles, but the article, it was just hit or miss. Social media wasn't that big. Now digital first is our thing. Got to write articles, which I actually like. It keeps me busy, but I still get to use my skills as far as like a journalist, but with more fun stories.
Yeah. Do you think being in this space made you more cultured to El Paso? Or has being cultured in El Paso made you great at your job?
No, this has made me more cultured, yeah. Because I have to go out and go to local restaurants that I probably would have never gone to. Go to events that I probably...
you weren't really like a curious...
Yeah, I would just, go home. I would always go to the same bar. If it was up to me, I'd go to the same bar back and forth. But now, and I won't say forced, but now, I go to these places and I like that. I'm like, So my job, the job in the TV and radio has really helped me, explore my city that I grew up in.
I was just talking to David about it, and it's been on my mind for like weeks now about what people's opinion is on letting their like career kind of bleed into their personal life. A lot of people, and if you ask them, they might just call their work a job. And because of that, I feel like you might come across some people where you ask, and for them, the experience is going to work and kind of turning off personal life for like 8 hours and then turning it back on after. How do you value being able to, and I mean, even if you don't, maybe you also are kind of in that same, but I get the impression it's not.
Yeah.
How do you value being able to allow for your career and your personal life to like blend together?
With radio, I am able to shut off. TV world, I couldn't. Because everything was a new story, and it was me finding this and working on this. It was hard for me to shut it off in the TV world. Radio... And maybe it's because I genuinely enjoy it. So if something does pop up that has to do with radio, it doesn't seem like work because it's fun.
Yeah.
So I am able to pause it. But then what happens in the radio world is I'm supposed to talk about my life. So I have learned where to draw the line in that sense, to respect, my friends, my family, and everyone that doesn't want their drama on the radio. I'll ask, can I tell that story? No. Man. Okay.
And then how about Mija? Mija, yes, you can. Like, do you feel like the organization is heavily just like integrated into your... And I guess what I mean by that is like the decisions you make in your personal life, do you feel like a lot of them are in consideration of these projects that are going on?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if a project comes up, I'm like, if I was not a part of this, would I want to go to something like this, or do we want to support this because it falls into my values?
Yeah.
So that definitely is something.
Right now you just said about with your like the people in your life, you can't just be airing out drama, and so you do have to have like boundaries and filters. I
mean, that one was a learning process.
Yeah,
like just talk about everyone.
What are the boundaries, if you will, and like when you're sharing your opinion on radio, you're allowed to kind of give your opinion a bit on it.
Yeah.
When you're reporting,
You have to have
be a little bit more unbiased.
Yeah, you can't really have an opinion. You're giving both sides.
However, on radio though, you still do know that you have an audience.
Yeah.
So how do you here you go. Here's the question.
Yeah.
And we'll skip all that time. Don't worry. But how do you tiptoe along that line of like, I want to be genuine so that my audience can relate, but I am also trying to respect the fact that my audience is multiple people. Like
Yes.
I'm not gonna please everyone, but the least I could do is try not to like really piss off the ones I don't.
Oh yeah, that's been tough, and that's why we don't really touch on politics.
Okay.
And I told Grizz when he came in, I was like, I don't really talk about politics, But recently, with the whole Trump of it all, we were doing headlines, and so Grizz was like, well, I mean, all that's on the headlines is Trump, but we have to touch upon it. And I was like, I don't want to. And he's like, well, just touch upon it. And I use humor. To like voice my opinion, but then, I'll make a joke about it to be like, that is what I feel, but also don't take things too serious, everyone. And we had callers that'll call in with their opinion. And I'm like, I don't want to air that. And Grizz will be like, just air it and laugh about it. You don't have to agree with everyone.
Yeah.
But we still have to have a platform where everyone can feel comfortable to voice their opinion. And for me, I just try not to talk too much about like politics, religion. And if I have to, real quick. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, people know what sides I stand on when I talk about things. But it is tough sometimes.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm like, I don't want to get them mad. I don't want to offend them. But at the same time, I don't want to lie and say, oh, I love this, and when I really hate it.
Yeah. And you also can't really like be, I guess, like afraid to be in the role that you're in. I
Yeah.
feel like a big reason why people can relate is when people speak with like that confidence.
Yeah, you speak, and the thing is too, it gets the people that are listening, even if they don't agree with me, it gets them going. And I remember when I was younger and I would listen to the radio, I didn't always agree with them, but I fondly remember yelling at the radio like, no, that's not right. Oh, but I was always listening.
Yeah.
So that's why when we have situations and me and Grizz won't always agree, and people love that. We get the most calls because they're like, I agree with Iris. No, I agree with him. No. And I'm like, good, we got the conversation going.
Right before clocking in, you're just
Yes.
like, what can we disagree on?
I know.
Today?
What are we going to argue about today?
Are you guys for the most part fully in control of your guys' script for the day? I don't want to say script, but like your guys' outline for the day?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, and that's the beauty. Our bosses try not to micromanage,
Yeah.
But if there is something, they will let us know, hey, don't do that.
After the
Okay.
fact, though?
Yeah. After
Okay.
the fact. But for the most part, we know, and I think that's why they trust us, because they know I came from the TV world, so I'm not going to go off the rails.
Yeah.
We'll leave that to the Buzz Adams show. But that's why Buzz Adams is number one, because he just does not care.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could be at that point. But we're both completely different people, and that's his thing, and my thing is this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you had mentioned that there's always learning to do in the field. Is there anything like specific that you think you have on your mind that you want to get better at or you want to learn about because you haven't even like dived into it just yet?
I mean, right now, what I'm currently learning is how to not to micromanage.
Okay.
Because I was and it's tough, especially with Mija as you can,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
with the morning show. Now we're a team, so I can't be like, no, this works. It's my way or the highway. No, because then that's just not how things work.
Yeah.
So, but it's just reminding myself, like, let go and let other people, and allowing people offer to help, and I'll be like, no, I can do it. I can do it. I remember the other day I was telling Grizz, I was like, oh, we'll do this, and that. I'll download them and I'll edit them. And he was just like, all right, well, let me know how I can help because I don't want it all to fall on you. And I was like, oh my God, no one's ever said that to me before. What do I say? And I have to remind myself, let go. Let other people help you. They're there to help you. You can't do it all. So not micromanaging is something I'm still working on.
Yeah.
And I still want to learn.
Yeah. Is that something when there's things that you want to learn? Are you a passive learner about it, or do you actually go out and try to actively find like resources to? I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's lessons on not to micromanage, but
I find them like LinkedIn. I follow a lot of.
so you're an
business-
active LinkedIn
yeah.
user. Okay.
LinkedIn helps me business wise, and I
Okay.
follow a lot of pages, and a lot of people will post if it's either a quote or an informational one. They'll say how to, work less and do this and that, and I'll save all those and I'll go back. Like one of them I saved and I use a lot is because for me my time is precious.
Yeah.
And sometimes people, and I'm sure everyone out there can say you have a talent that sometimes people like to take advantage of and they won't pay you for your time or your talent. And I am very big on that now. How to say I'm not going to do that unless you pay me in a nice way.
Yeah.
And I literally downloaded it and I use it. I go back and I use it in emails. And it's amazing how it's helped me,
Yeah.
understand my worth, know my worth, and not feel bad that I'm like, I got to pay bills too. So
Yeah. What's been your learning on LinkedIn as well? Are you learning about like pricing your work as well?
yeah, that and just speaking to other people.
Okay.
That's a beautiful thing when people are able to and not feel like, oh no, it's my secret. I'm not going to tell you.
Gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping it. And I'm like, no, it helps us all out a lot. Like for public speaking events, Monica Castillo, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She she's great at what she does. And I think she should charge more. But her and I have come together and we'll, talk about our frustrations and then she'll tell me how she does stuff. I'll go to her for advice. She comes to me vice versa. And that's how I learn, asking people that have done it before and say, hey, this person wants me to do, what do you think? And she's great at telling me, girl, that's not going to pay the bills. You got kids, you got this. And that's how I've learned. So being able to, not afraid to ask for help or assistance.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. So LinkedIn is an app that you use.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there are a lot of other apps that you use that either help you with productivity or networking or other aspects of your career. I want to ask, somebody asked me, and not all these episodes in the season are going to have them because like we recorded some of these beforehand. But somebody asked me the other day, do you have like a consistent question that you ask everyone? And I was like, I don't, but I should. So I kind of want to start to lean and try to find those questions. And there's things that I'm fascinated by. I just realized for the last 3 days, I've been like OCD and like trying to figure out my new phone layout. Like how am I going to organize my apps? You know what I mean? And it's important to me because I feel like sometimes, shamelessly, I sometimes use my phone while I'm driving. So I need to have I need to have quick access to the right ones, and the other ones can be in folders or else it's too tabbed. And this doesn't have to be an app; it could be a widget instead. Like the weather could be a widget app instead, so I don't have to open it. Are you the same? Are you as maybe not as that, or maybe it's not to a point where it's like detrimental to your time or your productivity, but are you pretty organized with your, maybe not just your phone apps, but like your hard drive where you keep all your like media, your files and your photos?
I'm organized in a messy way, if that makes sense.
It can, but I need more context.
Like I'm not as organized as I should be. I'm like if you were to look at my laptop, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck is this? and you'd be like, can you just find me this? I'd be like, oh yeah, it's in Mija, yes you can, under school videos, under El Paso High School, like I know where it is. So it's like, I know where it is. Yeah. And on my phone too, the other day I deleted something and it rearranged everything. And I just know when I open it, click here and it goes to Instagram. But it rearranged and I clicked and I was like, where's Instagram? Oh my God. My whole world was turned upside down.
Yeah.
So I could be better. But in my world, it makes you don't want to look at my laptop. It's a mess there.
When it comes to your phone still, are you the type that keeps everything like on your notes app? Or do you have like a different app that you might use for productivity and stuff like that? Because I feel like you have a very busy schedule.
Yes.
How do you go
my
about managing
calendar
that?
on there? And I tell people if it's not in my calendar, on my Google Calendar on my phone, I'm gonna forget it.
Google Calendar.
Yes. Oh, that is
lives on
my
Google.
Bible. That really is. And I have missed stuff, and I'll tell people send me the invite. And if they don't send it, it's on me, but on them too, because I'm like I'm just so busy.
What if they have a Yahoo email though? How are they going to send you an invite?
I think you still can.
I don't know how Google Calendar works.
Because I think Outlook, I think every one of them you can, and then it gives you the option, add it to your Google, Outlook, or...
like import them?
Yeah, you can import it to any. Because I also have a Google email, and sometimes people send invitations there, and then when it asks me, I put it on all my calendars. But like my doctor's appointments too, because it helps too with my personal life too, for planning a date night. Me and Gabe literally will look, okay, when are you free? This date, oh no, I have to do this. No, it's our Bible, and it helps us organize stuff. And for me, if it's not on the calendar, I'll make a shirt like that. If it's not on the calendar, I'm not going.
Calendar emoji. We'll replace the calendar. It could be clean. We could clean that up. But as maybe not so much scheduled dates, but are you the type that you try to be on top of your habits? Like you're aware that like there's like routines that you could possibly have that could help improve your flow of life?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff that I know I could be better at, but it's just, practicing. And the calendar one was was something that I didn't do. I wouldn't do. Now
Not
I'm
even
better
like a
at it.
physical, like.
And
little
at one
agenda?
point I had the little desk calendar, and then I had a small little calendar I would carry around in my little purse,
Yeah.
and then I had my phone calendar. I would put it in one, and then I would forget the other. So I'd be like, wait, I left that calendar at work. I'll get back to you when I get to work. So now I just use my phone. 'Cause
Yeah.
my phone's always with me. So that one, I learned how to do it, and I've got that one down. Other than that, I mean, now being on time is something I'm working on. But that goes with just it's scheduling stuff and making sure. Because in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be done by this time, and then I don't take into consideration the fact that I have a son that might be like, hey mom, can you make me dinner real quick? There's traffic, there's this and that. It's like, yeah.
And then as far as for like radio, for example, or maybe when you have like a keynote or anything like that, what do you find yourself typing notes on or anything? Is it just your notes app? Are you pretty
I use Word document a lot from
Microsoft Word?
Yeah,
Sheesh.
because I used to use Notes, which I probably should because you can transfer it to the iPhone. But I'm very old school. If I have a notepad next to me, I'll write it down
Yeah.
there. And I will carry that piece of paper everywhere because I'll have a calendar of things to do. And I physically like scratching it off. I'm still old school like that. And, but I also use, if I'm in a meeting and it's Zoom, I'll pop open the Word because it saves it there. Because sometimes my notes apps are just
Yeah.
all over the place.
What about like in like the middle of you grocery shopping and maybe something like creativity and inspiration strikes?
Then I will go to,
Just bust out your phone real quick
Yeah, the
and jot
notes.
down the idea.
yeah, on the notes app there, yeah.
Um,
Or I'll tell my son, remember this and remind me.
make it his job.
I know, and then he'll forget.
So we were talking about it right now about having a lot on your plate and then, wanting to eventually have staffs and all these other things. In a hypothetical world, and we'll end off on this one, but in a hypothetical world, budget aside, only one task in your day-to-day life. Maybe you do it 4 days out of the 5. It's not like all 5 days or anything, but it's the majority of your life. What would be the first thing that you delegate to somebody else if you had like a blank check to just pay them to do this role for you?
To help me get Mija Yes You Can in order. Like if I get that check, I love my job so much that I'm like, right now I'm still not done with the work I'm doing in my job, and I genuinely still enjoy it. So if I were to get some funds or something, I want to hire someone to help with the Mija Yes You Can.
What would they be seen as, like the executive assistant to Mija Yes You Can, or would they kind of take that co-director role with you? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it would probably be.
what would be that helping out Mija Yes You Can? What's the role that they do?
They would be like, executive or assistant to the executive director sort of deal. But it would be me kind of training them to do what I do pretty much, but to handle the day-to-day, because it's getting back to emails.
Is that the one?
That's tough, yes, because
Okay.
we get so many emails, so many this and that, and I can't handle them all because I have like 5 emails. I have my side work, I have the radio station,
Yeah.
So if I could have someone just to do that. And right now we do have our one of our first workforce borderplex solutions helps us pay our intern, and she's helping us with social media. That was huge. I was the one that handled it all because I'm learning how to. I still micromanage social
Yeah, okay,
media
yeah.
because it's just
It's the vision.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people will try and they're like, I don't know if I did it right. And I'm like, you didn't, but you tried. But we have our intern, Al, our intern, and she's been great. She'll send me the stuff and I'm like, this is beautiful. And I don't realize how much I was putting on myself that now that someone's helping with that, it's going a long ways.
Yeah.
So
What are the parts of social media? Like, how you're like, did I do it right? You didn't. I know that's just like a little example, but to be specific, what are some parts of social media that you are like specific about? Is it like hashtags? Is it like you got to put the right paragraph spaces in your caption?
And it's the wording too.
Tagging.
Yeah, tagging, the wording, spacing it. I always put emojis and then the hashtag. Like there's just a specific way to do it. And then, pictures too and graphics and all that stuff. But it's mainly, the wording
Yeah.
of it all because it's our voice. People are they're already so used to the way I would speak on social media through my captions
Yeah.
that they can tell when someone else posts it. They'll be like,
Yeah. So then you have a way of speaking that like couldn't be AI replicated.
oh no, definitely. Like AI, I'll ask for assistance sometimes, like help me with the caption. Okay, and I'll use just like I just needed to help me start it off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know how to start it off. Okay, that's all I needed, and then the rest is me because AI is just too proper, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
can
I am
hear it.
not that
You
proper.
can like read it.
Yes, so I'm like, no.
I feel like it's really good for like creating lists, you know, stuff that you're not gonna translate into like your
Yes.
own body of work. It's just
Yes.
like idea generation or something like that.
Oh yeah, that definitely.
Yeah, I try not to. I'm very like I feel like my writing is very sacred to me.
Oh yeah.
So like from the captions and everything like that. So I try to never like
Yeah,
lean
it's
towards
and
it.
I always tell people I'm like it's a great tool to help you. Even if there's a day where you're like my brain is just fried.
Yeah.
Can you help me? And then it'll help. Okay, there you go. It starts the wheels turning.
Iris, so you've done a couple keynotes and you've done maybe just one, but you've also spoken
Yeah.
plenty of times to on the topic of women empowerment. Before we head out, I think it'd be cool to just give you like a little bit of space to talk about maybe like the current focus of Mija Yes You Can. Maybe is it something that has to like do in collaboration with Nami maybe, or what's in the works right now for Mija Yes You Can?
So during the summer, we're gonna have a program that's aimed at helping young girls and young boys too, that to teach them just the things they need to know, stuff that I wish I would have learned in middle school and high school. You know, they didn't teach me about how to dress for an interview. They didn't teach me about how to ask for that raise. Those things we're gonna teach them the business world, the professional side of things, and mentorship too. They have a
Yeah.
question, don't be afraid to ask us. We are gonna have women that are in all different businesses, all different parts of life that are going to be there that you can feel comfortable talking to them. And this is a partnership with Pioneers 21. So it's Mija Pioneers.
Nice.
Such an easy title, but hey, it makes sense. And so that's something we're going to do this summer, and hopefully we can do it again, either in the fall or summer again. And the big thing for Mija Yes You Can is these young kids, when we were younger, life was so much different. Now, after I go into the schools and I hear the girls and I'm like, what's wrong? They tell me everything. I'm like, wow. They're going through things that I'm going through at 36 years old. I'm like, I could never fathom going through what I'm going through at 36 at 14. Like, how? Why? So we kind of want to give young girls that space to remind them, you know, that despite your background, the family you came up with, you know, the fact no one went to school, this and that, you can still do it. You can still find a way to make it out and go for your dreams.
The workshop is it gonna be a 1 day thing or like a weekend?
That'll be a 1 day thing.
Okay.
And
Do you have a date for it already?
yeah,
or-
that one, it is going to be, what are we in? June 22nd. It's like,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so it's actually coming up pretty soon.
Yeah,
Couple
it's like in a
weeks.
few weeks, yeah. So this will be the first one, and then again in either fall semester or next summer again, we'll do it again.
This will be out before then, so
Oh,
we'll. Is it like they have to register for it or they just go?
Yeah, so it's free. It's free. Lunch is provided. We're also going to have our professional closet. So if young girls need professional clothes, they can go and grab it absolutely free.
Nice.
And
Like a rental?
no, they can keep it.
Oh, okay,
Take
cool,
it. And a lot of it, like some of it is my clothes from the TV.
Ah.
Well, I don't fit into it anymore, or I just don't use it.
It's just like a blazer with like weather stuff all
I know.
over
I'll
it.
be like, but you can wear it. You can rock it. So it'll be a 1 day thing. It's going to be happening at Bel Air High School from
Okay.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and absolutely free, but you do have to register and you do have to be middle school or early high school aged and enrolled in a school here in the El Paso districts.
Gotcha. Where could they register?
They can register online. They can go to our Instagram. We have the link in our bio, or they can go to our website, mijayesyoucan.org, and there we have all the details. So they can register, or if there's a parent out there, or even a teacher that's like, I think this student would benefit from it. Yeah, you just need to register. It's as simple as that.
Nice. And then where can they find you and Grizz? Not only on the radio, but like everywhere else on your social media channels.
Yes, so it's 93.1 KISS FM. Tune that radio. They can also download the KISS mobile app and literally take us wherever. We're a lot of fun. We really are. Or they can follow us on social media, 93.1 KISS FM on Instagram, and then the KISS El Paso Facebook page. We post silly stuff, everything we're working on, and it's a lot of fun.
Iris, it's good to learn a lot about you.
Thank you.
It's good to learn more about Mija Yes You Can. I've known about it, I think, since it's really early days. Like, it's just one of those things that like I like heard of immediately, and since then I've always casually just like seen it grow and grow and grow, and so I'm excited to see where you go with it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
The Mija Market 5th annual, you know what I mean?
Yep,
All
who
that stuff.
knows?
5th
It'll
birthday.
Bigger and better. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. And then I am also excited for the journey of you being able to continue to get more resources and shape out the career into what is the ultimate vision. You know what I'm saying? So it was an honor to have you on the,
No,
on the
I
show.
appreciate it.
We took a couple tries to get it done, but we got it done.
Hey, it worked out.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah, all the rescheduling, like, it was a lot of back and forth, but...
But see, and what I mentioned earlier. I was like, but if someone really wants to work with you, they'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And I wanted to work with you. You want to work with me. We made it happen.
That's how we do it over here.
Asking if at first you don't succeed,
HQ, dog.
try again and again.
You mentioned that too in your, just like a little quick ending note. You had mentioned that in your... The other interview I was referencing it came out about 3 years ago, but you had mentioned that like to get the position with Hit FM, I think you had like constantly.
Oh yeah, with Dario, he told me one time too when I was already working there. He's like, "You bugged me so much that at that point I was just like, just let her have the internship." And I was like, "I annoyed the heck out of you, but I got that job, and if it wasn't for me annoying him, I would not be where I'm at today."
Persistence.
Persistence is key, but just not in a creepy way. Because some people can go a little too far.
Yeah,
know your boundaries.
There's a thin line between creepy and annoying. I think annoying is more socially acceptable than creepy.
Yes. Yeah. Like passionate. Be passionately annoying. Yeah. Don't be creepy. Don't come to me.
Annoying in a good way.
Don't stop me at Walmart while I'm trying to get a bottle of wine. And ask me for a job.
So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up right there. Episode 16, the premiere of Volume 2. It's an honor to have you as the guest for the premiere episode.
Yay!
There we go.
I like clapping. My mom claps.
We have like the air horn and everything too. Yeah. It's just the stock sounds. There should have been dogs barking at this point, but we haven't uploaded it into the...
Well, there was dogs barking outside, so we could have recorded that.
Ah, yeah, true.
Dogs barking.
We'll get them next time. But that's how we do it over here, man. Every Wednesday. Yeah. Legends only in the building. Make sure you guys always show love, bro. We always appreciate all the support. So if you guys can go ahead and follow us on Instagram to keep up with all of our latest updates, that's where I think we're most like up to date and active. So if you guys want the latest, make sure you're on Instagram. You guys can also go ahead and keep up with all of our main full episodes on YouTube. Subscribe, like the episodes, share them if you can. And if you guys catch us on any of our streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music, make sure you guys give us a rating, like the episodes, save them, share them, whatever you can do to show love so that we can get this series in front of more eyes. You know what it is, man. We're trying to grow out here. We're trying to grow all 2024. Come on. But that's me ad-libbing.
That's good.
I apologize.
No, that's good.
But so that's where we're at, man. Season 2, we need more love from the crowd. We appreciate it. We're growing, and we're trying to do something big with MF. But it's no different. Make sure that you guys stay tuned because we'll be coming out with some more midnight sessions real soon. Act 2 of Season 7. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Every Wednesday, Legends Only, live at MFHQ.